Mrs. Sheila Dikshit, thank you so much for speaking to us on NDTV today. Let me first ask you about the 125th birth anniversary of Jawaharlal Nehru, which is this week. And the Congress party has a panel which you are heading, which will kick off celebrations for the former Prime Minister. There's been a sense that the Congress woke up too late on the issue of Pandit Nehru's birth anniversary celebrations. How would you respond to that?
No. This committee has been working for quite some time. Now, the committee that I'm supposed to be heading is really the implementation one, because it's been going on for the past. In fact, before the general elections came on, Sonia Gandhi had already made a committee, taken ideas and views. And then this is a kind of an implementation committee, I'm heading at the moment.
But it doesn't seem to have got the kind of publicity, certainly, that Mr. Modi's attempt at, in a sense, appropriating Mr. Nehru's legacy has been. That's made much bigger headlines, the fact that the Prime Minister now is, in a sense, appropriating the former Prime Minister's legacy.
No, this is a style which has developed, you know. Modi is the Prime Minister and the government is the government. So naturally the government, and with due apologies, the media also picks up what the government does. But we've got our programs chalked out. We've had several meetings. We've not probably given it the kind of publicity that you all expected. We are doing our work. And the Prime Minister gets much more publicity, naturally. And that's that. Otherwise, it's not that we are sleeping. I mean, this is one of our proudest legacies.
But there's been a sense that the Congress got a little nervous when suddenly Mr. Modi announced that he's going to dedicate the Swachh Bharat campaign, to Mr. Nehru's birth, in this week of Mr. Nehru's birth anniversary, also, in Indira Gandhi's name. There was a sense that the Congress suddenly got very nervous and woke up that, we need to talk about our Nehru committee as well.
No. Congress did not get nervous. But I can tell you quite categorically, maybe not the little children, the school children, but they also read about Nehru. How can Nehru be appropriated by any particular party, which is other than the Congress? Because he was a freedom fighter, he was the first Prime Minister of this country, and he was a great writer. So all that you can't because you say so, you can't be appropriated. So I don't think that's a fair way of looking at it. And I don't think people are confused, intellectuals are certainly not confused. Nehru is Nehru. And he is not only the Congress's legacy, he is a legacy of the whole country. And now if you try and appropriate people, I don't think that's a correct kind of thing. You can't appropriate history. History is there. Indira Gandhi was a Congress Prime Minister, the only woman Prime Minister this country has had, and recognized the world over as one of the greatest women leaders and leaders of the 20th century.
But yet Mr. Modi was able to, for instance, appropriate the legacy of even Mahatma Gandhi. For instance, by kicking off the Swachh Bharat campaign then on the 2nd of October, it suddenly became about Mr. Modi's Swachh Bharat campaign. And he was doing it in Mahatma Gandhi's name. Similarly, that's what he's attempting to do now with Jawaharlal Nehru's birth anniversary. October 31st became about Sardar Patel's birth anniversary. So do you see a pattern here? That somehow he is able to successfully appropriate icons that you say are icons of the Congress party, but he seems to be successfully appropriating those.
How do you mean successfully? I don't know. I have not met anybody who is confused about this. In fact, the word appropriation, which you have used also, is being talked about by everybody. He's going to appropriate everybody. Now he has a Swachh Bharat campaign. The Swachh Bharat campaign has been, it wasn't called Swachh Bharat. Clean India campaign has been done from Nehru to Mahatma Gandhi to Indira Gandhi, or everybody. We did it in Delhi also, and there it is. So it's something that has been taken on by everybody. But I must say that what Mr. Modi says, he uses words which are apparently new to all of you, or a movement which is apparently new to everybody. But people know it's not that. And naturally he gets the kind of publicity which perhaps a party which is not in government does not get.
For instance, Ramchandra Guha was speaking to us in an interview just last week that they believe that the Congress in a sense has not done justice to its own leaders. You focus certainly on Nehru. In fact, Ram Guha doesn't believe you've done justice to Nehru's legacy either, which I'll come to later. But people like Sardar Patel just were not given their due when the Congress was in power all these years, and that is why the BJP led by Mr. Modi is able to use that word you don't like, appropriate him so quickly, because in a sense all that has mattered for the Congress all these years has been Nehru and his family.
To my mind, these are all political moves, appropriating leaders. Now, I must clarify one more thing. It's not a question of appropriating these leaders. These leaders are there. They are a part of history. Why are they not looking for their own leaders if that's what they want to do, a divide? And please remember, Sardar Patel banned the RSS. So, why are you confusing history? Everybody is busy trying to confuse a lot of history. I think what is happening is a debate of confusion is being created.
But Ram Guha said something interesting about Jawaharlal Nehru's legacy, and he said to us last week that he believed the greatest disservice in a sense to his legacy was done by the Congress. And he gives the example of the perpetuation of dynasty as one of that, and he's very strongly critical of Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi in particular. He says he doesn't even think Rahul Gandhi knows what Nehru really stood for.
Well, Ramchandra Guha is a historian, and he has liberties to speak and to analyze, because he's also a very well-known historian. I don't want to get into an argument with him, because his perception can be quite different to what ours is. I am a political person, my party is a political party, and I don't think we have let down any leader at all. We know the legacy is there. Now, there are, when you look at history politically, by non-historians, people like me or anybody else who's not a historian, the perception is different. All of us look at our leaders with great awe and great respect. Now, if you know that these are great leaders who made modern India, and you appropriate them, you are trying to do it politically, not otherwise.
Ram Guha's criticism also was, for instance, you're going to have a pledge for in Jawaharlal Nehru's name this week at his birth anniversary celebrations. He called it silly. He basically, his criticism is that the Congress has jumped in just too late and is now scrambling, getting a pledge together. What would you say? What is this pledge going to be?
How do you call it silly? It may be silly. No, it may be silly from some intellectual's point of view. But we are addressing the common congressman, the man who's a worker in the Congress. If he takes a pledge in the name of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, it somewhere touches his heart. It has a recall value. But it may seem very unimportant to somebody who's a historian.
Well, one cannot do an interview with you and not talk about the state of the Congress party today, Mrs. Dixit. So let me ask you, these are very interesting times for the party. We have seen some senior leaders actually now openly criticizing the top leadership, even Rahul Gandhi. Mr. Chidambaram was on NDTV recently, and he said he felt that Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi should communicate more. He said the morale of the party was very low. His son Karti Chidambaram talked about a high command culture for which he got a rap on the knuckles from the Tamil Nadu Congress. We heard Mr. Hansraj Bhardwaj yesterday in an interview to NDTV saying that he didn't think Rahul was a mass leader and that Priyanka should campaign more. She's more a mass leader. Where do you stand on all of this entire debate on the leadership?
Look, I tend to not agree or disagree with these people. They have an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. Congress is going through a difficult time. There's no doubt about it. We can't wish it away. Therefore, a churning is going on. Thinking is going on. In today's modern world of the presence of the media, where everybody is asked to react to in the media, they come out with views. But there is a desire and there is a worry because never before has Congress only got 44 seats in the Lok Sabha. You see? So is it not right for us to be worried? It's very, very, it's not a matter of criticism. It's a matter of looking at ourselves. Where do we need to correct ourselves? I'm not talking of individuals. Correction doesn't mean you just change an individual or bring in another individual. It means we need to collectively think, where did we go wrong? How did we go wrong?
But here we're not talking about any individual. We're talking about someone like Rahul Gandhi, who headed your campaign. He's the vice president of your party. Many leaders now, Digvijay Singh says he should take over as president of the party. Do you think, honestly, that Rahul is a good mass leader, or do you think that you need Priyanka? And you're a veteran politician and you're very candid. Do you think that someone like Priyanka would help? Has Rahul been effective, according to you?
Look, I think that's a call which the family has to take. You see, Vice President, Sonia Gandhi consulted everybody and Rahul became the Vice President. Now, so far, Priyanka has made several statements saying she's not interested, she doesn't want to come into politics. She does look after the two constituencies of Amethi and Raebareli when the need arises, but beyond that she has not expressed anywhere that she wants to join active politics. That's their personal reason, and I don't think we should comment on that at all. So let us see, as I feel that, you know, this kind of collective thinking, what do we do? How do we improve ourselves? Improve ourselves.
Do you think Rahul has been an effective leader?
No, I would not say that. No, please, you win and you lose. You also lose a lot of elections. You also win a lot of elections. You know, just because you won one election and then you're the biggest leader, and just because you lost.
So you think it's unfair to blame him?
Sorry?
You think it's unfair to blame Rahul?
Yes, it's unfair. So all of us, we have to look at the party, all of it, you know, collectively. Say somewhere the whole party, we fell short of the expectations that people wanted in the last elections or were looking for. One of the things that the people were looking for in the last election was that, you know, they wanted a change. Now they wanted a change because the central government had been there for 10 long years. So they looked for a change. Now the change was brought around. They found a person, they found a party which could probably...
But you know, Rahul just seems to not be interested. To be very honest, he just doesn't seem to be interested. He's not visible. You know, Mr. Chidambaram talked about the need for better communication. I mean, you, I'm sure, would agree with at least the point that the morale of the party currently is low. Do you believe he could communicate better with the party cadre today, more effectively?
He is.
He is, according to you.
He is doing it.
Because it's not visible.
No, it's not visible to you, but doesn't mean that he's not doing it. Please. Everybody has a style, everybody has a way. He is doing it, certainly he is doing it.
When Hansraj Bhardwaj says that he's not really a crowd puller and Priyanka is, do you not agree with that?
I don't want to comment on what Mr. Bhardwaj says or what Mr. Chidambaram says. I know that they're doing it. We are all worried about the Congress. I mean, we were as worried. I saw the period when Mrs. Gandhi also lost. And from a 2/3 majority, we came down to 170, whatever it was. Now, there was introspection, there was looking at it, and looking at ourselves, analyzing what had wrong, and that is happening, please believe.
So you're saying all these views that senior leaders are expressing that appear to be questioning the party's leadership is a part of a churning process, like, as you said at the beginning, a churning process that the Congress is going through.
Yes, it is. Introspection. Where have we gone wrong? And some of them, because the media asks them, they respond to it. But please don't think that we are not thinking.
You know, in Rahul Gandhi's case, you know, he's somebody, for instance, the Jammu and Kashmir floods, one would have liked to have seen him go in much sooner, be much more visible. He did go, but almost a month.
No, one thing I must tell you. Every leader has his or her style. Its leadership, the Congress leadership, is not as vociferous as the BJP is. The BJP talks. What its talk means, what is the action going to be after that talk, nobody is yet. It's yet to come. Let it come. So everybody has a style.
Sheila Dikshit, always nice to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.